Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rush Limbaugh, the television show, day 100 of the Raw Deal. This is it. The honeymoon's over now. You know what this 100-day stuff means? There's actually two parts to it. The first 100 days is a thing from the Roosevelt administration that presidents have used themselves to get their agenda rolling, because the first 100 days is generally where the press, everybody backs off and lets them have their chance and have their way. And when the 100 days are over, the press is then supposed to get tough the next day. Now, we'll see if that really happens in this case. The first 100 days of the Clinton administration, we're going to do our tribute tonight on Rush Limbaugh, the TV show. And we can start out by telling you that the first 100 days of the Clinton administration can be summed up in two words: gays and taxes. That's about it. That's about it. I don't know what's happening to these audiences. They're bringing noisemakers in here now. Look at this. We're going to go to our photo archive, show you some photos we've used during the first 100 days. Here's the president wondering, why did I even do it? Now, note, we pointed this out. Look at how ghostly white that hand is compared to the makeup of the face. This is, well, that's a gubernatorial swearing in the state of Arkansas. This is, you see it getting progressively worse as we head on down the line. And when I saw, I don't even know if I should say this or not, but when I came out here and studied these pictures for the first time, I see them not much sooner than you do. At first glance, this looks like a joint. And then our report card, ladies and gentlemen, we will put grades in each one of those categories tonight. Yes, we will. Now, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started. We sent Nick Africano out with our camera. We went to the streets of New York to ask various citizens to tell us what he's accomplished, what has happened for the good or for the worst, for the better, for the bad. In the first 100 days of the Clinton administration, here's our first man on the street. There's Nick, by the way, with
Thursday marks President Clinton's 100th day in office. Can you tell me what he's done so far?
Not very much, but he's surely trying.
I think he's met with a lot of people.
Well, he's dropped some food in Bosnia.
Promised a lot and hasn't really come through with a lot.
He's appointed several people.
He has waffled on a lot of questions and issues.
I know he started to have gays in the military, and then he thought he'd wait for a while.
What can you do in 100 days? We got a big mess in this country.
He has gotten all the cabinet people together. He has been meeting thousands, well, no, probably hundreds of affiliates.
He has probably done more for this country in the last 100 days than both Reagan and Bush did in 12 years.
I feel, as a woman, I feel comfortable with him and Hillary as the First Lady and the President of the United States.
Can you tell me what he's done?
Nothing that I know of. Nothing. What do you mean, something significant?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Raise taxes, that's it.
Oh, there you have it, folks. I mean, they're just people chosen at random on the street here in New York, where you'd think his best support would be here in the mecca of liberalism, which, by the way, liberalism, one of the most gutless choices you can make. It really is. You know, if you're a liberal, it's easy. It doesn't take any, you just say yes to everything. I think I want to throw a brick through that building. I'm mad. I think you should. You have a right to express your anger. That's liberal. It takes no effort whatsoever. All you do is before everything, you've got to care, and you say things but don't get anything done. All you got to do is say you care more, you're more compassionate, you're more sensitive. That's conservatism such as we find it here, the relentless pursuit of the truth. You make yourself an enemy when you pursue the truth. Because when you find the truth and shine the light of truth on those who don't have it, they know it and are threatened, and therefore you become an enemy. It's gutless and easy to be a liberal. And those were some liberals found right here in the mecca of liberalism. And not even they can identify anything good to come out of this administration, except that one guy who thought more had been accomplished in the last 3 months than 12 years of Reagan Bush. No, that's the kind of guy supporting Clinton. That's a liberal. You ask him what, and he can't tell you. And what was so bad about the 80s? All he'll tell you is, well, the rich didn't pay enough taxes. And it's just the same old, folks. And when you see all of our show tonight, you'll understand why the truth is found on Rush Limbaugh, the TV show. Back with the rest of our show right after this.
Thursday marks President Clinton's 100th day in office. Can you tell me what he's done?
I think he brought a good sense of security to the nation, and I feel that things are moving better, and the people are more confident, and I think businesses are starting to spend some money and hire more people.
This is exactly what's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. The exact opposite of what that citizen just said is what's happening. The economy is slowing down big time, and the reason is taxes. You take the average American, $40,000, $50,000 a year, $25,000 a year family income, every day they get up, and what do they hear from this administration? The next new tax that they're going to be hit with. Every day there's a new tax, from health care to the VAT tax to the BTU tax. And you know what? We're going to announce tonight, by the way, because of the BTU tax, the light at the end of the tunnel has now been canceled. Think of it that way. But every day, tax, tax, tax. Now, let's go back to something. Remember last fall? After the election, there was a euphoria. There was a positive attitude in the country. It's understandable. People were excited about change. You always are, no matter what change is in your life, and you're anticipatory and looking forward to it. And people had not listened to specifically what Clinton had said during the campaign. If they had, he wouldn't have won. So he's now inaugurated, and then he starts talking about what he wants to do, and people go scratching their heads. Well, I didn't hear any of that. Tax increase. I thought I was going to tax cut. I thought only the rich were going to pay tax. And every day they hear new tax, and so they're not spending any money. The GDP, the growth is now 1.8% after that massive December of 4.3%. It's way, way down there, folks. And the reason for all of this is attitudinal. This administration does nothing but talk negative. They've been talking negative since the campaign. Worst economy in the last 50 years. The recession was the worst since World War II. All of that. And they continue to talk negative. Well, yeah, the economy was coming back. See, they didn't want the good news before they were inaugurated, so they played it down. Well, of course, those are not real jobs that are being brought. It's not a job recovery. They've created a negative attitude. And you contrast that with Reagan. They want to complain and moan about Reagan. What did Reagan do in the 80s? All Reagan said was, get the shackles of government off people's back and let them be the best they can be. You can bring this country back. You can be great. You can make this country great because we're all great. All we need to do is get the shackles and the constraints of government out of our lives. That's positive, and it worked. Now, you just compare that to the way this administration is talking, and then look at the economic activity. Now, let's look at the specifics of what this guy just said. The National Association of Manufacturers just took a poll of 1,900 manufacturers, and here are the salient points of the poll. 1,900 people. The people fear higher taxes and more regulation. And as such, 45% expect their payrolls to be unchanged this year. They're not going to hire any new people, is what this means. And 5% expect to increase their payrolls more than 10%. So there's not a lot of new jobs. And the reason is there's not a whole lot of confidence. And it's because of the attitudes of this administration. Now, we have another man on the street, because I want to show that this show is balanced. We could have gone out and found people who thought there's nothing new going on with this administration. We could have found everybody who said, well, I can't tell you anything good they're doing, but we haven't done that. We have made a painstaking effort in the pursuit of balance and fairness. We've gone out there and found people who think he's doing great things. Now, it's not our fault they're wrong. It's not our fault. It's not our fault they're a little... Listen to this. Here's another one who thinks that the president's doing well.
He's done a great job. Terrific president. It's about time we had a president like him. I've waited since Kennedy to have a president like Bill Clinton. And I think it's a shame that the Republicans in Congress are promoting gridlock, particularly Bob Dole. And I wish that Bob Dole could somehow be kicked out of office. I know he has a 6-year term ahead of him. It's a shame.
Now, now, wait a second. There you go. Here's a liberal. This guy probably thinks he's more tolerant than any of the rest of us. He thinks he's probably single-handedly responsible for protecting everybody's right to free speech. What does he want to do? Get rid of Bob Dole? I wish we could kick him out. And the simple fact of the matter is that we've got a president who is as good as Kennedy, at least in bed. Now, my friends, well, that's what we say here, relentless pursuit of the truth. We got to take a break. When we come back, there is a PBS show. Has this show aired yet, or is it airing on the 100th day anniversary?
It airs this month.
It airs this month. Somehow that answer just descended upon me from on high. We participate in this PBS show. It's the Capitol Steps taking a little humorous license with the president. We'll show that to you, and a lot of other things we come back. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you very much. A raucous bunch in our studio tonight. All right, now this show is a little humorous jab at the administration on PBS, and I've just been told it airs on the 19th of May here in New York, and then throughout the country on different dates in May, depending on when your PBS station runs it. And they called and they said, "Look, Mr. Limbaugh, we'd like you to be part of the show." I said, "I'm not surprised." They sent some questions that they wanted me to ask because they had the answers, and they have graciously consented to allowing us to use the portion of the show featuring me. Here it is from PBS.
Tonight we look at gross national product.
We're now getting questions from around the world for President Bill Clinton. The first question, sir, is from New York.
Mr. President, isn't your policy of allowing gays in the military going to be a bit disruptive?
No, Rush, I don't think so. Let me tell you why. Under the compromise that I've worked out with General Colin Powell, we're only going to assign gays to those bases that are closing. Thank you.
President Clinton, why did you put your wife in charge of health care?
Because she told me to.
Mr. President, how can the governor of such a small state be the president of such a huge country?
Just remember, it's not the size, it's the technique.
Mr. President, how's Jennifer? Come on, Mr. President, the American people deserve an answer. Why don't you give us an answer? Come on, Mr. President, we elected you. We're the boss, as Ross says. Tell us about Jennifer. Come on, sir, answer the question.
Now, that was Sam Donaldson, but that guy has also starred as George Bush in, I think, his Naked Gun 2.5. That was Sam Donaldson. Now, I want to show you something, folks, with this health care business, because one of the new taxes that they're thinking about is another payroll deduction, as FICA it's a Social Security deduction in your paycheck. They're thinking of another one. The health care is going to require insurance premiums. So they're considering a premium deduction from your paycheck. Now, remember, they're running way behind, they say, on this health care plan. Way behind. And the president, I don't think I want to present this now. He's being advised not to. Panetta, don't do it. Don't present this plan yet because it's not ready to go. Focus on the economy. Show you a headline today in the New York Times. Hillary Clinton rejects delay in health plan. Hillary Clinton rejects delay in health plan. Now, let me ask you a question. I have a conversation every so often with a friend of mine in Washington who doesn't understand why there's such resentment for Hillary. And I tell her it's not personal. It's simply who elected her. I mean, everybody knows. Everybody knows. Hang on just a second here, folks. Everybody knows that they put her in the background during the campaign because the campaign's negatives went up when she was in the foreground. And then after they win the election, all of a sudden Clinton calls press conferences. You know what? I have decided, as though it was just last night, to put Hillary in charge of health care. And boy, are we lucky because she's agreed to do it. When the truth is, that's part of the original deal. I am confident. I'm sure she told him 2 years ago, if we're ever elected president, I'm taking over health care. And this newspaper headline, I mean, absolutely, Hillary Clinton rejects delay in health plan. Got to take a quick break. Back with more, including the report card after this.
Hey, everything's looking up under Clinton. Taxes are up, spending's up, and the deficit's up too. So, how's he doing?
That, folks, is a latest ad from the Republican National Committee. They're going to buy that ad in places all over the country, and it's a 10-second job, as you just saw. We have first rights to it here on this program. And I wanted to play it for you just to show you the Republicans are not standing pat. They're going to go on the offense and try to come up with a program of alternative proposals to do something better than what Clinton wants to do. But I want to show that to you. It's a demure ad. It's nothing but the truth. But I guarantee you the press is going to present this thing as the GOP has launched a vicious negative attack ad against the president who's only trying to do his best. You wait. They'll call that a vicious negative attack ad. Let's go to the Senate. Here's how they're celebrating the first 100 days. Carol Moseley Braun. This is so good. Watch this.
And I looked back and did a little research to find out what was the history with President Reagan and President Bush. And I think if we stack up President Clinton's accomplishments on that yardstick, he has done very well indeed. Congress approved the Clinton budget plan just after the end of March. That was something of a record, again, in recent history. Final action on the Reagan budget resolution in 1981 did not occur until May 12th. And the budget resolution embodying the first Bush budget did not get final congressional approval until May, did not get congressional action until May 18th. And so both of those presidents came in behind President Clinton. So we've got an early passed budget resolution that will allow the work of this chamber, of this body, to continue so that President Clinton's programs can be put in place in an expeditious and timely fashion. In terms of legislative accomplishments in the first 100 days.
The senator has expired.
Ooh. Could I have 5 more minutes, Mr.
No, you cannot. Now, hang on. Now, folks, wait just a second. Of course, the budget plan that he's gotten through is just a resolution, no specifics, and he had a Democratic Congress helping him get it all the way through. Reagan and Bush didn't. It's no big deal. It's irrelevant. Got to go to the report card. Day 100 of the raw deal, ladies and gentlemen, here at the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. It's time to grade his performance. Foreign policy up first. Can we see it? He gets an L. Learning in progress. He still doesn't know what he's doing. He holds foreign policy and military power in contempt, doesn't have the slightest idea, but in good liberal fashion, rather than humiliate him by saying he doesn't know what he's doing, we'll give him an L so his parents won't be too mad at him when he gets home. Economics, he gets an F, if we could see it on the screen. The president exhibits a startling lack of understanding of basic economic principles. His concept of taxing the American people into prosperity defies all economic logic. It's never happened. English, the president gets a D. He doesn't understand English. It's plain as day. Contribution and investment, he thinks, mean taxes and spending. He refers to taxpayers as customers and often can't remember who he's told what. He's got a definite problem here. History, an F-, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the F- is a special grade available here only at our institute. For reasons only he might know, the president refuses to grasp the true history of the 80s. He continues to refer to the 80s as a decade of greed and selfishness instead of the most prosperous time in post-World War American history. He says 1992 was the worst year of economic history since World War II. It's an inexcusable misrepresentation of the facts. Mathematics, the president gets an F. He shows no ability to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. He can't tell the difference between $1 million, $200,000, $30,000, $22,000. Says the deficit's going to go down. When it's not, it's going to go up. Science gets a D. Spends too much time reading and listening to environmentalist wackos and hugs Al Gore too much as he attempts to get close to trees. Sex education, though, we got to give him an A+. Always a strong subject, no reason to believe that he's going to be deficient here, and doesn't bother his neighbors too much. Character, F. Never, ever trust a draft dodger, ladies and gentlemen. And this is going to be on his report card that we send home, a warning also from outcome-based education. The grades on this report card are only guidelines as to the student's progress. Please remember that it is illegal to beat or otherwise abuse a child. We are going to make sure that Mrs. Clinton, the First Lady, the wife of the president, gets his report card and has that warning on it, using liberal traditions as our guide. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll see you with our next one. Don't go away.
Services provided and promotional fees paid by the following. Rush Limbaugh's Wardrobe by Rochester, Higgins Hall. Rush Video to the Rush Limbaugh Show, 515 West 57th Street, New York City, New York, 10019.
Tonight at 8, a man, a woman, and murder. Tom Berenger and Mimi Rogers star in Someone to Watch Over Me. Then at 10, find out how much your world has changed today with LA's very independent Real News.
If you'd like to order a video cassette of Rush's TV show for only $24.95, just call 1-800-FOR-VIDEO. For a transcript, send $5 to Burrell's Transcripts, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039, or call 1-800-777-TEXT.